Again, my name is Coach Jeremy. Welcome into No Gear Get Up, my friends. We're going to move a little bit before we get our day started. We need to move. We'd love to move. But my leg's having a hard time moving because I gave myself a good old Charlie horse yesterday during my workout. So we're going to focus on the quads. And we're going to start in a kneeling position as we normally do. So go ahead and bring it down to both knees. And let's start here. From this position, I'm just going to try and get as much knee flexion as possible. But we're going to go into a tall kneeling position soon and work some hip thrusters to work the hip flexion and bring it back down. And again, you're working knees and hips at the same time here just to get the tissues, I guess, a little lubricated, if you will, right? Just to get the fluid moving in the areas. Now, once we're here and we work, just say 2 more reps, Nala's going to join us in a little bit of a stretch right now. We're going to go ahead and actually go into a saddle position. So come down to both knees in that bent position here. Place both hands behind you. And then all I want you to do is try and lean as far back as possible. Open up that chest, lean your head back, squeeze the hips so that we're going into a full extension of the hips themselves. But again, this is a position that we don't spend a lot of time in. And surprisingly, I did a little bit of chest yesterday too. I'm feeling a great stretch there too. So we're getting a few areas at one time. Just lean left and right a little bit if you'd like. Take a big breath. Perfect. Slowly come out of that one. Now that we've kind of woken up the area, let's go to something a little bit more highly concentrated of the quadricep muscle itself right now. So we're going to go ahead and get the quads. Go ahead and get to an edge. I have my couch here, but if you can get to your wall or something nearby, hopefully it's a little soft because we're going to press our leg against it. But we're going to come up to something and we're going to get to an object. And we're doing what's called a couch stretch. Now, luckily, I actually have my couch to use, but if you don't, that is totally fine. You're going to take your knee and get it as close to the object as possible. Now, the closer your knee is, the harder this is going to be. Don't worry so much about your foot. It can lay flat against the wall. Take the other leg and come into what we call a little bit of a lunge position. But from here, what you'll see is that the quad itself is being really lengthened because of that position of the knee. Now, again, if this is too much, too intense, you can't become upright, right, in a nice neutral spine, then what I would do is come down. I'd bring the knee forward just a little bit, maybe about a ½ an inch. But then what you want to think about here is control, right? You don't want to necessarily feel like, oh my God, I feel a big stretch. This is working. But can you control what you do in this position? Can you squeeze the glute and rotate the pelvis? Can you then push the hips forward? Sorry, they're going crazy now. Look at that. They just woke up and they want to get some No Gear Get Up in it as well, Hammy and Nala. But again, push the hips forward. Come back nice and slow. Keep the squeeze on as best as you can. If you lose the squeeze of the glute, come back to that neutral position. And then from here, how can we add variation? So squeeze, and then let's go ahead and rotate towards the forward leg. Now I feel even more of a stretch, but it's traveling now from the quad up through the hip flexors and getting a little bit of this core, and hopefully we're touching some of those muscles like the psoas, right? And again, it's just getting a universal stretch. Big breath while you're here. Remember, taking a big breath in any position tells you that you own that position, that you own that shape, and that's what we want, right? We want ownership of the things that we do. Squeeze, hold, breathe. Now try rotating the opposite direction. The one thing that you do want to focus on, though, is keeping this knee of the forward leg in line with that foot and that hip. So as I open up and rotate, I want to keep that knee pushed out. And again, I'm going to try and rotate towards the knee that's down. Feels a little different. Now, another variation. Let's add a stretch with our arms. Let's go reach overhead. Right arm first if our left knee is down, and add a little bit of side bend. Squeeze, hold. Take a big breath. Own the position. Now switch arms. Same position. Still rocking. That left knee down. Big reach overhead. Take a big breath. Good. Now let's go ahead and come out of that. Stand tall. And let's just go ahead and feel it out, right? Let the lead reperfuse back into those tissues. Let the tissues just relax a little bit. And then again, just find that squat position. run a couple squats. Obviously, my left leg is going to feel way more ready, prepared to do those squats. Let's go and get to the right side now. So let's go ahead and take our right knee, place it as close to that object as possible, just like you did before. Once you're set there, you're going to take your left leg up, and you're just going to go ahead and become upright. Remember, find a neutral spine, be able to squeeze your glute, own the position, and take a few breaths on your own. Good. Remember, you can shift forward a little bit as long as that glute squeeze can stay. You can shift back a little bit as that glute squeeze can stay, excuse me. And just explore at this point. You can add it, make it a little dynamic. It doesn't necessarily have to stay static, right? As we previewed before, some stretches. You just add a tiny bit of movement and really just explore what your body's willing to give you. Let's work that rotation now. Let's go towards the forward knee. Good. Take a breath here. Really feeling this one in my deep hip flexor, and a little bit different than on the left side. Let's go ahead and open up, rotate to the other side. Be mindful of that forward leg. Take a breath. Good, nice job. Let's go ahead and come up with our left arm if our right knee is down. Big reach across. Try to fill up the space of your rib cage, right? You can even place your hand here and get a little bit of feedback as you inhale. Open up the rib cage. Exhale, let that thing compress. Switch arms. Inhale. Exhale. Good, nice job, team. Let's go and come up out of that one. Woo. Come back to those couple of squats. After you let the blood reperfuse all those tissues, get that liquid back in. 2 squats here. Perfect. All right, so now that we worked on the quads and the hip flexors, hopefully those feel just a little bit looser now. We're going to go ahead and take it into one more thing, which is what we're going to call toe yoga. So let's go ahead and start standing. We're going to go ahead and try and raise specific toes at one time. And I'll scoot up just a little bit so you can get a little bit better view here. But your toes need to move as well. Let's try and lift just big toe. Just big toe. And then drop it down. Just big toe. Drop it down. We're going to go 3 more of these. Just big toe. Drop it down. Just big toe. Drop it down. All right, now let's try and lift the other toes and drop those down. Other toes. Drop those down. Good, other toes. Now let's go ahead and just try a little bit of like a piano type of version where you would go 1 toe at a time. You could start big toe to pinky or pinky to big toe. I'm going to go pinky to big toe on both feet. So I started pushing my pinkies down. Then I'm trying my next fingers, and you can see I'm using my hands to help me send that message down to my feet. Good. One more time, pinkies down. Just follow with the rest of the toes. Good. Now let's start with big toe down and follow it up with the rest of the toes. All toes up, big toe down, rest of the toes. Nice shot. Let's go 1 more rep, y'all. Big toes up, all toes up, big toe down, and then the rest of the toes follow. Tough to do, something we can practice on. And that's going to be it for today, y'all. Remember, my name is Coach Jeremy. Welcome to No Gear Get Up. Thank you guys so much. We'll see you next Thursday. Later, y'all.